Laura, do you know how many folks we're planning to get today?
Check in just a minute. Just a second, I'm still trying to get to the live stream.
Take your time.
We have 26 yes and 7 maybes and 75 who had not responded yet.
Okay, so we have in the participants 17 right now, so let's wait a couple minutes maybe.
Okay.
Afternoon, everybody. We're just waiting for a couple more folks who said they would join us. Thank you for coming. We'll give it 2 more minutes, maybe, Laura.
Laura, you're muted. Oops.
All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Ted, can you drop in the chat the order of the breakout rooms? Or just say it.
Oh, for the Menti codes?
No, there's the breakout rooms for choosing themselves. It's adaptation, mitigation.
Adaptation, mitigation, people / community, advocacy,
Right.
and education. All right, I think it's 3:05. We've gotten another couple people. I think maybe we'll begin. I will recopy the Jamboard link for when we need it. I don't know why it's going just to Amy. Oop. And then while we're waiting to admit the last couple stragglers, if you want to follow Marcella's lead, please, and Amy's lead and Andre's lead to write your name and organization in the chat, that would be great. Thank you. All right, let's get started. Thank you, everybody, and welcome on November 1st, All Saints Day, I believe. Happy Halloween. I hope everybody's costume was fantastic, and everybody had a great weekend. Thank you for joining us on this second climate meeting for CW. The agenda for today is to once again review the CW structure very quickly. I've added a little bit of information to this. Again, quickly review the give gets from last meeting because we'll be dwelling on that again in the breakout rooms. There's a little bit of new information. And then we're going to spend most of today in the breakout rooms doing planning, old school style, because we're virtual. And then I forgot here, but between 5 and 6, we're going to talk about the climate action plan a little bit. And then the next steps for the next meeting, which will be sort of dependent on the breakout rooms and how far we get. Next slide, please, Laura. Okay, so today's meeting objectives, a lot of review and a deeper understanding of Chicago wilderness and its structure. But really the main part, like I said, will be done in the breakout rooms, and it will be to advance the ideas and activities for climate action based on our goals. And then really what we wanted to do today is less talking at you and more talking with you through active listening, which we didn't really get to last time because we presented so much information, right? So hopefully we will stick to that, and let's get going. Laura, please. Okay, so these slides look really familiar from all who attended last meeting. The larger image on the left is sort of a team structure of CW and the executive committee and the steering committee and all the different goal groups, where the one in orange. And then the two images on the right should be pretty familiar to everybody by now. But I just wanted to once again show you where we fit in the wheel of cogs. And we are the orange climate group among the seven other groups. Next slide, please, Laura. So what you haven't seen here, and this is the new stuff, I took a crack with our team to figure out which of the sub goals actually refer to other goal groups. So you can see the goal groups in the circles up above: healthy land, ag, green infrastructure, adding land, healthy water, climate action, and people. Those same colors are represented in dots next to each of the sub goals. So for adaptation on the way left, we have a lot of overlap with other goals. And that's not just for adaptation alone, that's for pretty much every one of our goal groups. So, you know, I said last meeting, and I think we all know inherently that this is going to need to be to be really collaborative, but this just shows why. And I wanted to give this to you today, mostly because we're going to be working on activities to move these goals forward. So not only do you need to know sort of what these sub goals are, which I've put sort of summarized, sorry, back, Laura. Back one slide. Yep. So I put a little summary in each of the boxes. But then today, what we're really going to try to do is come up with activities that we think will move and promote these boxes further towards climate action. So this is really for reference. We will send out these slides after. And just keep in mind that while a lot of these groups do touch every goal, not every sub goal touches every other goal. And this is sort of subjective. This was our thinking, and it may not be complete. I think in reality, probably we do touch every goal. But this is sort of where we stand now. Next slide, please, Laura. Okay, so last meeting, we talked about the give-get relationship and how that works in the CW Alliance. So give-get relationships, once again, provide for shared outcomes, shared expertise and knowledge, new or improved capacity, enhanced resources, efficiency and creativity, which we'll hopefully see shine today, and new leaders, volunteers, and donors. Next slide, please, Laura. So as you saw, those were some of the give and gets. And really, we also have some goal review and feedback today. And just so that you're aware of what happened last meeting, the overall idea is to develop strategies and tools to build resilience for ecological and human communities, support regional emissions reductions in line with local, regional, and global climate goals, which, as we see, are a mess right now, and then facilitate CW members' connections with the wider community through engagement, education, and advocacy. And then we're going to prioritize inclusivity at every point with every strategy and action. And that sort of folds into today as well. And that's why I wanted to review these overarching umbrella goals with you for our goal group today. Last meeting, you also gave us feedback about what you like about these goals and sub goals. There's some of the responses there. And last meeting, we also talked about what brought you to the climate table, and those are some of the responses. You can see collaboration, justice, some other things there that are too small to see because I didn't have room enough. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the breakouts, we have 2 breakouts today. The first one will be about 20 minutes. We're asking you to self-identify among the 5 groups. So the 5 sub-goal groups, sorry. The 5 sub-goal groups are adaptation, mitigation, justice and community, advocacy, and education. Doug Stotts will be taking adaptation today. I will be taking mitigation today. Mario will take justice and community. Ellen Woodward will be on advocacy, and Susan Ask will be in education. In those rooms, those people will briefly review with you what each sub goal is. There are 3 for adaptation, 3 for mitigation, and 2 for everything else. And then you'll start to work on brainstorming some of the activities that you think will further some of these sub goals. So after brief introductions, what the sub goals are specifically, we have Post-it notes set up on this Jamboard, which I put the link in below, and I will share it again for those who joined late. And that's how you get to that. So once you're in Jamboard, each sub goal is color coded and labeled in text. Find your first page, and then goal groups go to town. Laura, do you want to work the breakout room?
Yes, I will open those now.
And again, you're self-identifying to the group that you think you most want to be in for your give-get relationship, because that's how we're going to move this work forward, right? The other thing here is you don't necessarily need to be in the same breakout room both sessions today, but it would be helpful because the second breakout session, which will be 40 minutes, will build upon the first. So that will be helpful if you commit to one sub goal today. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay.
Wait. First of all, any questions? That was a lot of information to throw at you.
Can I just say, for people who maybe don't realize it, that you have to click on the breakout rooms icon on the lower right to see where you have a choice of where to join.
Thank you, Mario.
And if you cannot do it, I can assign you to a room after people go ahead and get into their room.
And Ted, would you mind giving a 1-sentence rehash of what we're doing in this first round of the breakout rooms?
Yeah, so the first round is really introducing yourself to the breakout room. It's talking very briefly about what each of the sub goal points are, and then taking the Post-it set up in the Jamboard. Oh, sorry. Yeah, look at this. Let me go into, oh shoot, I can't share my screen. Laura, can you share your screen with the Jamboard on those last 2 slides?
This one?
No, it's not in the slide program. Oh wait, yeah, I think it is. Maybe the next slide, sorry. No, go forward towards the end. Yep. Next. There we go. Okay, so this is for mitigation. I didn't do these for all of the examples because I didn't want to take away your creativity. But basically, for each of the sub-goal summaries at the top, you come up with as many ideas or activities as you can, and then you list next to it in the box with the arrow what you might need to do to fulfill that activity. So under sub-goal 1 for mitigation, I have put Chicago Wilderness Member Greenhouse Gas Footprint Calculations, which is our first sub-goal. So activity 1 idea I put just as an example is ID carbon calculator tools. So we need to research products. It needs to be easy to use or people won't use it, that kind of thing. The next idea I came up with is run a CW cafe to teach about the tool. So, some of the considerations that need to go into that are identify the date, the presenters, and make the presentation, invitation, stuff like that. And then the third activity is to review CW members and research who already has these plans, because we do have some big corporate members, say like maybe Boeing, who probably have these plans already written up. So what do we need to do for that? A lot of internet research maybe, and then maybe we need to define some thresholds for what make a legitimate plan. Do they have to say, so many tons of carbon reduced or mitigated or whatever? We probably need to do some thinking about that. So I did these for each of the sub goals. These are in the Jamboard. If you get stuck, they're the very last 2 slides all the way to the right in the Jamboard. But this is just sort of an idea of what I was hoping to get out of this first session. Does that make sense? And does that answer your question, Susan?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So maybe now we self-identify into the breakout rooms, and we'll do the introductions, the quick goal count summaries, and then start working. Yes, I will post the Jamboard link again. Please be patient. I need to pull my chat back up. There we go. There we go. Okay, so then all right. Breakout rooms. And so this is under the More tab if you can't find them, right? And I want to go to mitigation. Oh.
For those that joined us, we're going into breakout rooms based on the 5 different sub goals of this climate adaptation team. And we are self-selecting to go into those committees. So you can choose to go into the committee by going into the breakout tab and selecting the committee that you want to go to.
And
also
Laura, I'm having trouble getting to my room.
And which one are you?
Mitigation.
Yeah. Okay. So I just assigned Ted. If anybody else would like to be assigned, just let me know and I'm happy to send you there.
Laura, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm not sure I'm seeing the tab where you can select for yourself. So I'm in the link that was sent in the Jamboard, but
no, so it's not in the Jamboard. So go click on, there's like 3 set, like a 3 across and 3 down dots. That's the breakout room. If you click on that, it should give you the options there. It's an icon for breakout room, and it looks like a tic-tac-toe grid.
Okay.
With boxes. But I'm happy to just send you to the one that you want to go to.
Okay.
Laura, can you put me in mitigation, please?
Sure. Who is this?
Laura Dirks.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You should be going now. Anyone else want to just be assigned? I'm happy to do it. It's very easy from my end. I'm sorry that it's more difficult. Yes, Michelle.
Advocacy, please.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Robin or Ralph, Patrick, I'm happy to assign you.
So this is Ralph Grundell, adaptation.
Thank you. Okay,
Robin, either adaptation or mitigation, either one's good.
okay. Patrick,
Yeah, I can't find that TikTok grid. Is there a people group or is it just
it's yes, justice and community, or there's education and
yeah?
engagement. Okay, great. There you go.
We forgot to introduce ourselves in adaptation. But we ran out of time anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, who was leading that group? Jeez.
It was self-led.
By unidentified nobodies, apparently.
That's right.
Okay, well, I think we have everyone back with us. Ted, I think you're still muted.
Thank you. So welcome back, everybody. 20 minutes was not long enough for our group. I think we have a mentor that we'll go to, but I'd like to hear from you guys if you want to keep working on the first exercise some more, because we were generating some really good discussion, or if we want to move to the second. I think my preference is we stay with the first, and then maybe we have the next meeting do the second thing, activity that I was going to do. So if we could go to that Jamboard link, that would be great. Sorry, not the Jamboard, the Menti. So in your phone, go to menti.com, please.
Is that slide here, Ted?
I don't see it. Maybe I put it in the wrong place. Is it the next slide? Nope.
Here we go.
Oh, there it is. So if you want to go to menti.com and type in that code, please, we can run through some feedback stuff real quick.
And I just typed the code into chat if you prefer to copy and paste.
Thank you. And then, Laura, do you want to switch tabs to the Menti tab and share that so we can all work from that?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so this is a pretty easy poll, even though the results aren't up yet. How many activities did your sub goal create? 0 to 3, 3 to 7, or 7 to 15? You can see I was pretty ambitious here with the 7 to 15. Our goal group might have gotten there, but only because we used my cheat sheet as an example and built on them. So sorry I didn't have those for everybody, but I'm hoping that I was poking back and forth and I saw some work there. So that was good. But if you could just answer this question, that would be great. And you can see I've answered in the 3 to 7 category.
Hey, Ted, this is Carrie. I have a completely different set of questions.
So that's probably for the second breakout room.
Let's drop the other. Can we drop the other?
Yeah, so this one it's actually at the top of the screen right now that Laura's sharing. It's 9487 3535. And I apologize about this. We had to use 2 different Menti links today because we couldn't get it all to work in one seamless presentation.
Okay. There's
There
the
we go.
code.
Okay, I put a different code in, I think.
Yeah, you probably put the second code in. Sorry.
Sorry, I typed that in chat. That was on the screen. Sorry.
All right, so it looks like at least most groups got a few ideas down, which is awesome. There are not a ton of ideas, it looks like, but maybe that informs whether we go back and put down more ideas and or if we move forward into the scheduling portion. Why don't we go to the next, was there a next question on this, Laura, I think?
Yes, yes. Let me get to it.
All right, well, Laura gets to the next slide.
I mean, I will just say my feeling is we're not at a point where we want to be scheduling.
Fair enough. Then let's not schedule. How's that? Show of hands, quick hands, everybody. No scheduling. Hands up.
But I'm not good that way. So
All right. I'm fine with more ideas and brainstorming because I think this is really important. So Laura, why don't we call an audible here and just go back into breakout group 1 and let's spend another 40 minutes or half an hour to 40 minutes talking about ideas and activities. And then the last part of the meeting, we'll go over the climate action plan and we'll save the scheduling for next meeting.
Okay. It looks like everybody's still assigned to their same room, and I will open the rooms now. If you have any problems, I can bring you back to your room that you were in, but I'm going to open the rooms now and you just have to accept them.
Awesome. Thank
Julie, if you can hear me, you're not assigned to a room yet. Would you like to go to, we have adaptation, mitigation, justice and community, education and engagement, and advocacy.
Yeah, I am actually looking at the list, and I would say either advocacy or education.
Okay.
So I'll let you flip the coin.
Well, there's only 3 in education, so I'll put you in there.
Okay, works for me.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mhm. Hello. Gosh, where did everybody else go?
We popped in like 30 seconds early. So.
Okay. I got worried. Here they come.
Do we have everybody back, Laura?
Yes.
Awesome. Welcome back again. Thank you. So I'm glad we took the time to redo that. We had a lot more very good conversations. I hope you guys did too. Do we want to do the second I guess we should do the second mentee because there are some appropriate questions in that, even though we didn't get to the planning stuff yet. So in the chat, I will put in the mentee code for the second thing. MTI 701. And then do you want to share that screen, Laura?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Go back to there. Plus. Two 707. Okay, how'd we do? So this screen should be up. It looks like everybody has participated except for me. Let's say that. Two. Certainly not. All right, so it looks like most of us thought that this was helpful to move forward. So let's unpack the second one. If people want to just unmute and chime in about generating enough ideas, let's get to work. That was a little bit lower than the first one that I saw. Oh, or am I the only one to vote so far? And that was past polls.
I think a lot of people accidentally voted the first time around on
I
this
see, and then it
set
went
of
away.
questions. So for me, I based my answer after the first breakout group. So maybe we do a redo.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Can you do that, or do you need me to?
I was able to vote a second time using, I typed in the link in the code again and I got the question and I answered again.
I did the same thing. So.
All right, I'm hitting reset results. Okay, so for this slide. So go ahead and let's do it again now. I think I just reset it.
And it seems if you voted before, it will take your previous results and just plug them in if you want.
Whoops, I lost the code.
So the code for this one is 2707. 0131, and it's in, we put it in the chat a couple times.
I'm just concerned that voting a second time either is a very Chicago thing or we might have to let it do both.
It's an imperfect world, isn't it?
I'm not sure that we're seeing them. Are you guys seeing them differently?
I'm seeing people right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's.
I'm just waiting now. Please wait for the presenter to show the next slide. Do I?
Do we want, does anyone feel comfortable just giving a response out loud?
Yeah, I think let's do that.
Strongly about anything?
I think some of the votes are coming through. There's a couple little colors squeaking over there. I just managed to vote again.
It has not been our day with men to me today. I'm very, I apologize. I don't know. Oh, and there it is, right? Did it just pop in?
Yeah,
Great.
Nope.
Maybe it
it's
was
changing. More voting's coming in.
Yay.
It's a different question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was something to do with that we had showed the other one before, so it wasn't accepting them, but now it looks like it's going.
Okay. So this is, bye, Michelle. Thank you. So this is really helpful. I like sort of that integrating with the climate action plan is lower than the other stuff a little bit because we haven't really gotten to that. Bye. Thank you, Abigail. So why don't we turn to that right now and go back to the slide? Or is there one more question? I can't remember. I think that's it, right? Yeah.
No.
So let's go back to the slideshow and we can talk about the climate action plan, please.
In a minute.
Okay, so while Laura's pulling that up, I will start to describe the climate action plan. And it's really interesting because there are two, one that you know and one that you don't know. The one that you know is basically a 4-page summary that has lived on the CW website for the last 10 years, Susan, maybe 8, something like that. And it really is just a higher level synopsis of what we all know and love. And it's really good. But what you don't know is that there's actually like a 60-page real climate action plan document that for a number of reasons stayed hidden behind the executive summary for the last 10 years. The sort of 8 or 10 of us that meet monthly to come up with the goals has really thought about updating this in terms of not just the executive summary, but the whole 60-page document. The executive summary is basically what you have before you, these 3 categories, and then the ensuing bullet points. They're fantastic. But I think our group, the goal group, felt that it would be really helpful to revisit our work currently and update this climate action plan, the 60-page document that you haven't seen. So that will be a to-do moving forward over the next year plus 6 months plus, something like that. And we don't necessarily know how to do it, but we also realize that you haven't read the 60-page document either. The 60-page document has all of these bullet points in them, but what makes the 60-page document a little bit of a misnomer is it was created at a point in time where Chicago actually had a carbon market, and there is a big section of it that wanted to feed into that market to mitigate carbon. So because that's outdated and there's new work being done, it's still germane and very relevant, but it could do with a refresh. And so that is one of the things that we as a committee have sort of looking to charge ourselves with as an activity as well. So all the ideas that you came up with, all the work that we move forward will hopefully get put into this update over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months as we move forward. I wanted to summarize the changes for you guys so that you knew that there was this executive summary that everybody knows and loves, but there's also this monster document that comes behind it. Susan put the link in the chat, which is great if you want to link to it. I think this would be good homework before the next meeting to set this up and begin going down that road as a group of folks. So this is really a summary asking you to do some reading between now and the next time we meet. And really not much more than that. And I'm not going to go through these bullet points, but I will sort of pause for a moment or two in the hopes that you will read them yourselves and familiarize yourself with at least the summary. Laura, the link is in the chat. But we also, the easiest way to find it is if you go to the CW Vision page where each group has their goals. There is a link to the full report as the very last link under the climate goal. And that's the easiest way I can sort of say to do that, because I can't share my screen right now, unfortunately.
Maria, are you on still? Can you drop it in the chat for us?
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Can I ask though, maybe you or Susan or somebody on the call who's super passionate about the climate action plan for nature, what is the underlying reason? Like, what's the compelling reason for us to spend time generating another one now?
That's a good question, Mario. Susan, you want to take a stab or you want me to?
Sure, and I'll work, just to clarify, the link that's in chat is not to the longer plan.
Oh, all right.
So, well, you know, I feel like we have been doing an update to the plan, and that this goal setting is a big part of it. I also feel like the Nature Conservancy's recent report on the impacts of climate change in the region does a big part of it, as well as some other things. So I guess I feel like the important part is this goal setting that we've been working on in kind of a working group, and now we're getting the whole group involved in making those goals more specific and turning them into things that are actually done. So that's where my emphasis is, but also to have it published, to have it out in the open rather than this one that was kind of only in the hands of people like, I don't know if Phil is still on the call, who was involved in developing this. So he's seen it, as well as other people.
Yeah, I think to reiterate Susan's point, Mario, it's really to give daylight to the longer version, because we've only had that 4-page executive summary, which is great, but it's a little underwhelming perhaps, and it's certainly out of date at this point, being what, 10, 12 years old. So I think it's just to sort of cohese, and I see your point about making extra work. I sort of see this as maybe a passionate side group, if you will, unless a lot of people really want to dig into this work. Does that answer your question?
It does, but it puts me in mind of also, can we think of this version not only as being out there to be socialized more and being more visible, but part of that socializing it is having it be more of a living document than the old one, which is to say, I think some of the TNC generated report that's out there on impact and such, you know, that can stand as a snapshot for a certain moment, but this sort of what we're doing, you know, what's the action we're taking, what's our shared values, who are we partnering with, you know, who's doing what. I feel like one of the nice things about the goal work that we've been doing is the flexibility of it, the way that we kind of discover a little more what's key or relevant as we delve further and further into it. So is there a way to have it be sort of a living document, even once it's up, if it's truly very much an articulation of what the goals are and what people are doing and what activities are needed, that those things could be shifting around a little bit and to have that be reflected.
So I wonder if that's like a technology or a platform issue, or how, it's not a PDF per se, but maybe it's like an integrated website. I don't know. We'll think about that.
Yeah.
I wrote it down for sure. Any other statements or questions about the climate action plan?
Well, one thing I would just note is that the city is redoing their climate plan. And sort of when the first climate action plan for nature came out, it was essentially, we kind of cast it as a companion piece to the city piece, because we essentially were covering a different part of the landscape. I suspect that will still be the case, but we might be in better position this time to make any ties between the two explicit, rather than the last time where we sort of tried to ride on the coattails of the Chicago plan.
So I think that's a great idea. I'm wondering how that's going to happen, though, because some of us have had conversations with folks at the city, and they're really focusing on buildings and retrofitting, right? And not so much the nature stuff,
Right.
the green infrastructure. So I wonder if there's a way to combine the two as companion pieces. And I don't know if they'd be open to that or not, but I think that's something definitely worth thinking about.
And I would also just note that there's the recent mayor's caucus plan for basically the suburbs, and it also suffers from a weakness on the biological side of things. I think we do occupy a space that, and I'm hopeful that the previous version of the plan, version 1.0 asterisk, has a lot of the thinking we want, and it's really a case of updating it rather than totally rethinking it, which
Yeah, and I think that's where we were hoping to go with this, right? Not
Yeah.
totally reinvent the wheel, but take the parts that are good, which is most of it, to be fair, and then update and tweak around the ends with some of the activities and goals that we came up with. That sound about right, Susan?
Yeah, and honestly, I like the living document idea. I'm eager to get to work on implementation.
Yes. So that's a great segue, I think, into the last part of this, and Laura, maybe the next slide, I think we can go into a little bit more, which I hope is our next meeting and the next steps. So thank you for your contributions today. My work group was really helpful in coming up with activities. I assume everybody else's was. We'll send out notes. Let's talk about next meetings, especially since we did not get as far as we had hoped to today. I wish we had a poll on this, but we don't. Maybe just put your reactions in the chat so we can copy it. In the past, this has been a quarterly meeting. I sort of said last meeting that the first few meetings might be monthly or not quite quarterly, just because there's so much to do to get this up and running. Just put in the chat whether you'd like a monthly meeting, a bi-monthly meeting, so every 2 months, or quarterly for our next meeting. I think based on today, since we didn't get as far as we had hoped, I would like a meeting sort of soon, recognizing that the holidays are upon us. That might be difficult to get into in December, but I think we could certainly do it by the end of the year. I wasn't sure if, maybe we wanted to start quicker and capture this energy and momentum and then go to quarterly. I'm not sure how to do that. And I want to be sensitive to everybody's time, because this is essentially, even though this is all our work, it is a volunteer organization and in addition to your day job. So I want to be sensitive about that. Let's see what else in chat. So I will put my answer in chat. And that's what we have. Any other questions or comments before we go today?
I guess I put this in chat, but I feel like for some of these sub goals, we're going to want to have meetings outside of this big group.
That's true.
For implementation, and those might happen at different speeds.
That is a good point, Susan. Thank you. And then how many? So we've dropped about 10 participants. We have 17 left. Why don't we say thank you for your involvement, and you can go once you put your answer in the chat. I don't know any better way than to wrap this up, seeing as we have 8 minutes left or something. But thank you all for your participation, and it's really helpful to us. For sure. Now we're about down to our goal group. Awesome. Well, thank you guys.